Thank you guys for tuning into today's podcast. Today's episode is all about Klopp's new look attacking force, frontline warriors, like we call it. We've got a couple of new additions to the team, a couple of people are leaving, and we've spoken all about how our attack is going to take shape, how our midfield is going to look, given that the changes are going to be happening at the very front. And it's just a very technical conversation. It's a very deep immersed conversation that we've had with Avinash and Pramod. Do watch the full episode.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Paris down to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. Bob Paisley and Bill Shankly, the fields of Anfield Road. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool. Ale, 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 ale.
Hey guys, today in our Deluded Reds podcast, we have a very important guest. We have Avinash, ex-admin of BCOP. Avi, please speak a few words. Please introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? Avinash Giridhar, been a Red for close to 20 years now. Feels pretty, that itself makes me feel old. But as JC has coined me, my name is Nice Guy. I love going to Bangalore Cop screenings. Been to Anfield, but would take a few of our Bangalore Cop memories over that experience as well, right? Because BCOP is something crazy. And then there's the Deluded Gang, probably the most hardcore Liverpool fans I know, and we're very emotional people, right? It's not like we just talk a lot or we just want to go and make noise. Liverpool actually consumes a lot of our lives and a lot of our brain space as well. So yeah, great to be here. Wadi and JC have been putting together these awesome podcasts, and thanks for inviting me over.
Thanks, Avi. That was awesome. Of a lot of things we're going to talk about today. We're definitely going to talk about the Anfield experience. But yeah, before that, I would just like to thank JC to also take some time out, our co-host. Thank you for the entire UCL organization, managing the entire event. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I think special shout out to JC, Hemant, and a couple of other active BCOP admins right now. But yeah, that's that. I think it's time we get started with our session. Okay, guys. Special day, special times for Liverpool fans. I think we have Nunez coming in, but also a little bit of sorrow, I'm pretty sure, for everyone with Mane's exit. I'm not too convinced with that. Okay, I'm not too convinced that Mane is leaving. I don't think he wants to leave desperately. My heart still beats for him. I think there's going to be a U-turn here. Okay, now that's just my gut feeling. I think Bayern would want to rather sign him on a free at the end of next season. But either ways, we got to prepare for the best. And before we talk about how we're going to replace him, how his game is going to be, how his absence is going to impact our game, I want to first put this question out there to Avi and then to Pramod. Okay, talk about your best favorite moments of Mane. Could be one, could be many, because this guy is a bloody legend. I'm sure you cannot have one memory. Like I have like fuckloads of memories in my head. Okay, but yeah, Avi, you first.
Before we start talking about memories of Mane, right? Let's talk about Mane himself, right? So for me, he's probably one of the best players in the world, not just African, right? A lot of people say he's one African player of the year. It's not good enough, right? I think from a talent scale wise, right? When you look at a wide center forward, there are few quirks that you look for in the modern game, right? So first thing, you look for pace, right? Second thing, you look for the ability to take on people with that pace. Third thing you look for, once you beat, what is the guy going to do, right? Is he going to score? Is he going to assist, right? And the most important thing for me is when your team is down, right? How do these forwards react? Okay. Lot has been spoken about Bobby. We have a great song for him. Lot has been spoken about Salah. He's a phenomenon, everything, right? I believe the anchor of that three partnership was Mane, right? People used to say Bobby is the anchor. Now when he leaves, I feel the importance of Mane and Mane's runs, Mane's ability to just pull defenders, harass people, right, will always stand out, right? And ironically, it's from his first game. And my first memory will be from his first game for Liverpool. My last memory will be from the club he's heading to, right? So couple of moments that stand out, right? Arsenal, the first game, right? The first goal that he scored for us. I don't really remember a first goal for a modern player like that, right? Salah, yeah, okay, tap in, Bobby dinks it, taps in. Mane takes the ball near midfield, right? He charges, he runs towards the fullback, then takes out the centre back, which is holding. And then he's apparently a right-footed player, right? That's a funny thing that people keep saying. And even Transfer Market calls it out. But he then cuts inside on his left and then puts it in the top corner with his left, right? This ambidextrity is very underrated, I feel, for Mane, but it's there, right? And the other goal that I remember very starkly is against City when we routed them 4-0, right? The second goal, Mane had missed a chance about 2-3 minutes before that. He just tanked a very easy chance, a tap-in sort of thing. And then outside the box, right, Walker is backing off because nobody thinks you are outrageous enough to shoot from that distance on your weaker foot. And Mane plants it in the top corner again, right? So the left foot of Mane, which is spoken very little, is actually a weapon, right? There's so many memories, man. I'll always remember that back heel, right? Because if Henry does it, if some of the other legends do it, right, it's such a talked about thing. But for Liverpool fans also, Mane's back heel goal, he chests it, he's on the wrong side of the ball, he's facing his own goal, and then he does the dink, right?
I think it was
and the last one, of course, I want to talk about is the Bayern goal, right? You do not do that to Manuel Neuer. I have not seen people do that to Manuel Neuer, where Neuer is standing in no man's land, basically looking like he can't do anything, and he's helpless. If you look at that goal, right, it's one ball. It's not like a very tiki-taka goal. It's one ball from Van Dijk. Mane chests it, brings it down, just circles the goalkeeper in the most unconventional way, right? He stops, he turns, he pulls the ball out, and then the finish is actually easy because of all the work he's done, right? And ironically, he's now going to Bayern Munich. So the point is, you're right. You don't need to think about moments for Mane, right? Those are like intertwined in your memory because of so many reasons. And then there's the Everton goal, right? When Everton's always been a prick for us, right? Even during the Klopp era in the starting, right? And he wins it at 90 something, right? And there's flares on the pitch. Those are images that stay with you, right? Those are memories that stay with you. So unlike Torres, the way it went, I need to mention Torres, right? Because probably after Torres, the forward I've loved in a Liverpool jersey, right? Really loved is Mane. And then Salah came, right? But Mane is that one forward who, for me, in Torres' prime, Torres was complete. There was nothing in the world. When you can do stuff to Vidic that Torres did, there's nothing in the world that you can't do, right? And Mane was one such player, right? And of course, people used to talk about his injuries, his slumps and all. But you got to understand that this is a player who came from Southampton, right? He didn't come from a big club, right? He had to prove himself. He had to get adjusted to the system. But there's not one game you'll remember where Mane is not running, where Mane is not harassing. And the last memory that I will leave you with is, how many goals has this guy chased down goalkeepers and scored in the recent past? You'll remember the Chelsea goal against Kepa, right? He chases us down, hunts him and scores. Then again against City, right? Recently, he chased the keeper down and he forced the error. That for me is probably the best Klopp player attribute I can have, right? A forward who is going to press from the front and really screw around with the defense and the goalkeeper. Even the goalkeeper is not above him. So that's sort of my summary of Mane, right? That's what I think about him. And which is why I'm singing his song now every morning, because I don't resent him leaving Liverpool. I'm thankful to him for the kind of memories he's leaving behind, right? And good for him. Wherever he goes, I don't agree with you, Adi. I think he's going to go to Bayern. I think it's all set, and I think the wheels are already, that the decision is made sort of, and that's why we spent 100 million, right? And 40 million for Mane is a great deal, but we'll talk about that later, right? But that's the core reason. But because having these memories, right, the Istanbuls, these memories, these players, that stays with you, right, as a club, because we're not going to change the club if a player leaves, right? That's what stays with us. And I feel that those memories and those moments, probably when we are low, we'll probably remember that and still feel happy, right? And that's for me what a player's impact on the club is. Yeah. Sorry for the long sermon, but Mane means a lot, right?
Yeah, he deserves it, no? I mean, he deserves it, no? He deserves such a long. There is so much about him that you can speak about this guy all day. And he was after Firmino, he was the guy who was leading the forward. Okay, I still think Firmino is the anchor, but he was the star before Salah came in, and we were so dependent on him. You remember the red card incident? He just face planted the City keeper, and after that we were screwed. Yeah, like there was he missed a couple of games. So when he went off, we were clueless without him. He was a huge impact player for us, and it is a nightmare. I feel when you compare the winger as a winger, if I see, I feel Mane is a kind of, if I compare Mane and Salah, Mane is a kind of player who's a nightmare to defend against. Okay, he has long strides. Okay, and you don't know which way he's going to turn. It's in his prime. Mane is absolutely dreadful to play against. And yeah, like he said, the favorite moment was the Arsenal, the first one. The moment he came in, you get to know, okay, you know what, the tone is set. Like a lot of people, like we are often ridiculed, no, for buying like costly English players or from the EPL. We are often ridiculed. And it was the same thing. Oh God, Mane from Southampton, and very first game, he just answered that. Okay, this guy is not going to be that. This guy is not going to be that. He is going to be a very, very important player, and he did that. Yeah, I mean, I think 2018 Mane is, and he's actually, there has been a very good growth. Okay, he doesn't do those runs anymore. It's a very matured. Like 2022 Mane is a very matured kind of a player. He knows, he holds it down, and the whole strategy has been changed. So that's the thing about him. He can just walk into any team. And a team like Bayern, he's gonna wreak havoc. I hate Bayern Munich as a team, but yeah, even I don't have any of those hopes. Yeah, Wadi, I'm sorry to burst that bubble. I think we have found a direct replacement in terms of wages. 120k for Mane and like 150, no? Nunez. It's the same thing. It's like it feels like we've done deal for deal. Wage for wage. We are doing. I'm feeling bad for one reason. Okay, I'm feeling bad that the emotions, like Liverpool is a very emotionally run club. Okay, when I see deals like this happening, I feel like, is it becoming a revolving door?
I'm sorry, I want to stop you there. I don't think we're an emotionally run club anymore. I think that ended when FSG walked in. Maybe you can still talk about the fans.
We are emotional. Yeah. I agree with that. I think we're very, very pragmatic, right? And I believe that if you look at from Giggs Hillett era to now, the way the club is run, right? It's run like a proper business, right? And I am happy about it, right? Because there are ins and outs. There is no money going outside the club. There's minimal money coming into the club as well, right? So it's a well-run club. There is no emotion involved anymore. We will always have that emotion, right? We were emotional even when people said, "Oh, Liverpool is going into administration. You're going to get relegated." Those days also were real for us. It was real for me, right? So the whole point is we are a very well-run club at this point, and none of this thing is shocking me anymore, right? To be honest, even if we don't extend Salah, right? See, Salah has a lot of brand value. So for a business standpoint, also retaining him makes sense, right? The whole one portion of Asia, you are sort of, and a lot of Africa, you're sort of galvanizingly, you're able to market using this, right? And they are the upcoming markets. But yeah, I agree with Wadi, JC. I don't think we're emotionally run. So this is sort of run of the mill in a way, right?
I do. Yeah. I was getting to that. See, FSG is not an emotionally. I love the way they're running the business. I agree with the business ethos of FSG. Okay. One of the side effect of this is the emotional content is gone. Okay. And it feels like, oh my God, is this becoming like a revolving door? Oh my God, every 3 years, every 4 years, are we going to do this? Like, are we, like, see, as fans go, we still love, Steven Gerrard more than Dalglish or Shankly more than Paisley. It's trophies don't fucking matter to the fans, to fans like us. Okay. So this, I feel I'm a little hurt by that, but I know inside that this is the way to go forward.
Correct.
And yeah, I mean, this guy, I can talk the heaps more about Mane. I mean, the Munich, you said it. The Munich one was insanely good. But yeah, man, I mean, the Arsenal, that goal was so much it. After that, I stopped counting moments.
Okay,
You know
I'm
what
not
I'm
going to be
saying?
lenient again with
It
you.
was like,
Easy. So for Avi, I could probably ask him like multiple, let him give multiple answers. To you, just one answer, which is the most favorite, best moment.
Arsenal goal.
Arsenal game, the debut game. Okay.
Because after that, I stopped counting because I got to know that this guy is very, very special. Okay. It stopped surprising me. Anything. It was just the end of it. Okay. You've made your point in your first game itself. Tu karab. It was more like that.
Absolutely. I think that point is like, it's a very valid point. I don't know if Avi or Pramod who made this, okay, but not many players have had that kind of an impact on the first game. Of course, showing the love to the manager is one thing later on because the manager entrusted all that in him, but taking on the opponent on his own, because even Suarez did not do that in his first game. He scored a goal, all right, but it's not a crazy goal. Maybe Torres is an exception. Torres against Chelsea was again a good goal, but there was a lot of Gerrard's involvement there. But this Mane against Arsenal goal was it was all Mane. And I think it was very much, I think there was one player from that very moment that we did not doubt if he would work out or if he would not work out. I think that was Mane. That you could say for sure. Even now, I'm pretty scared about Nunez. I'm still scared about Jota because Jota is an amazing player, okay? But I'm just not too sure how he fits in the Klopp system. Okay, he gets things done. He's a player who gets things done. But can you build a team around a Jota? Okay, Klopp did it very well with Salah. He built a team around Salah, around Firmino, around Mane, put them all together, and he built a team around these three. Okay, but I still don't really know where Jota plays. I'm sure he's good. I'm sure he's going to figure out his way, but I'm just not convinced that we've discovered or Jota has himself discovered what his strengths are and what he can offer. Okay. But yeah, speaking of Mane, right? I mean, of course, you both gave your answers. I'm going to give one answer, okay, which both of you all missed out. I'm pretty sure if I remind you, you guys might want to change. But the Aston Villa goal, guys, the Aston Villa goal. How can you guys forget that? I'm just surprised.
I mentioned it in my queue, right? What the ability of a player to perform when the team is down. That was the goal I was thinking about, right? But yeah, go ahead, Wadi. You chose the right goal.
Yeah, man. I think the beauty for me in that about that game and about that goal is I was just fucking not there. Okay, so that was a time when finally Liverpool looked like a team that's going to win the league. It looked like we were on a winning run, and it seemed like the stars were aligning. So after many years, I decided that okay, it's a match week, but still, fuck it, I'm gonna go on a trip again, on a road trip, and I went on a solo ride. Okay, I went somewhere in the Western Ghats. The thing is, I didn't have internet, So I think the last time I saw the scores was when it was 5 minutes and it was 0-0, Liverpool Villa. I was like, okay, okay, it's Aston Villa, we might just get through and that, okay. But then I rode a little further, stopped for tea somewhere, and then I'm seeing it's about halftime and it's 0-0. No, sorry, I think it was 1-0. I think Villa was leading or something like that, okay. I was like, okay, fuck it. So maybe it's my fault. Maybe superstition, right? Maybe I'm not watching. That's why Liverpool's losing. Such stupid superstitions came to my mind. Okay, but then I went back. I didn't have internet till like late in the night for like the next 3-4 hours. And then when I actually did get internet, I saw the goal. Okay, and before seeing the goal, I knew exactly what kind of a goal that is. When I saw the kind of impact that our WhatsApp groups had, because it's very funny when you suddenly get internet, your phone starts cracking up, it starts hanging up, and then my phone was doing the same thing, and it was all money everywhere. I figured he scored a screamer. I kind of knew it was a header or something, because that was also the time when we were bombarding teams with crosses, Trent and Robbo. So it was not a goal that I saw, but that was a goal which I very well knew, because of the three, Salah, Firmino and Mane. I think Mane is the more superior guy with his in the air, right? So yeah, for me, it's very special because I didn't see the goal, but I pretty much knew how the goal came about. But yeah, I don't think I can disagree with the Neuer statement also. No one does that to Neuer, dude. I still think Neuer would hold that against him when he sees Mane, because that was Neuer at his prime, and just rounding him, faking him is like, yeah, JC.
See, Neuer, no, that's the thing. Neuer is often out of place, okay, but things doesn't happen to him like that.
Yeah.
He often wanders around like Dora the Explorer, okay, but this time it really bit him very bad, and he was clueless. Oh my God, this doesn't happen. How are you doing this? It was one of those
And
things.
saw a black guy and he thought that, oh man, he's going to be the obvious player. He didn't know how good Mane was. Bloody guy underestimated Mane.
No, and I also believe, right, that these are the moments that actually cemented Liverpool as the team to dread in Champions League, right? Yeah, we had our ups and downs in this thing, right? But you needed like an Atletico Madrid or an Inter Milan, or to an extent Benfica, not actually Benfica, right? Teams who play a very different brand of football that can counter our football, right? Even to an extent Madrid in the final, right? For me, that was almost, I'm calling it anti-football, not in a negative sense, right? But basically your aim is not to have the ball and hit on the counter and keep defending, right? Like I was reading an article today morning about some Real Madrid player saying that they're happy, they wanted to mock Salah by winning the cup, right? But if that was your aim, you failed miserably, okay? Because if Divock Origi had got injured at halftime, you would have lost 4-0, right? 4-0 at halftime if Origi had got injured. So what I'm saying is that basically that fear of why Liverpool, you don't want to face Liverpool, right? Comes from Mane, comes from Salah, comes from Van Dijk, comes from Fabio to a good extent, right? That it's very difficult to break this team down. And their three center forwards will just rip you apart, right? So I'll actually correct myself now that I was hearing you guys. I agree Firmino is the anchor. Salah is the superstar, right? There's an X factor in this attack that nobody knows what to do with. That I would say is Mane, right? You can't mark Mane. You can't say I'll go running with him till the halfway line, because he'll take the ball at halfway and then beat you for pace with it, right? The movement that this guy showed in so many times. I mean, there are goals where Salah has made passes through two people, right? But people forget that to enable that pass, Mane had to make that run before, right? Like you cut across from here and there are two defenders and you cut between them, right? That run is so difficult to defend against. And like if you go to any Salah, Mane, Bobby compilation, right, you will find so many goals. West Ham, there are these goals where from our corner, we score at the other end, right? And if you see, it's Mane and Salah is really quick, okay? Everybody appreciates his pace. I don't think people appreciate Mane's pace. Mane is faster than Salah most of the time, right? He's the one who's leading that charge, and then they ping pong and score a goal. So it's going to be missed. There is no coming to the next aspect of things, right? That how are we going to replace him? There is no like for like. People are saying buy Gnabry, right? The one thing that people forget is Mane is actually a very unselfish player. If Mane had put his mind to becoming the top scorer of this league, like Salah put his mind, either both of them would have been the same. They would have scored similar goals, and they did in few seasons, or Liverpool would have suffered because of selfishness. So Bobby and Mane being unselfish is a compliment to Salah, right? That's what's made him score those insane amount of goals. So you got to appreciate that aspect as well. He's not a selfish player. He's not a selfish person. There's a lot he's done off the pitch as well, right? That I think that's what brings respect for this player, right? Period.
Cool.
It's not just love.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to just add on, right? Yeah, Bobby is the anchor. I think he still will be. But like you said, Salah is a superstar. He's a finisher. But I think the one player that glues our midfield or even our defense to attack, okay, even probably keeps the midfield and the wings intact, I think is Mane. Without Mane, the transitions would not be as smooth as it is. So without Mane, right now, speaking of moving on from Mane and what we should expect from an incoming player who plays on the left wing, maybe it's Diaz, maybe it's someone else. Yeah, how are they going to help in the transition of play? Because Salah, I mean, if you see, right, if you look at our long ball game, it's always Van Dijk he plays left centre back, and then from LCB, his cross balls are always towards Salah. Okay. Over here, there's not much of much of a need for a transition here. The transition it comes straight from Van Dijk. Okay, but when you look at our gameplay and transitions which happen through pass and move, most of them would involve our left wing. So we have a very specific way how our right side of our team functions and the left side of our team functions. The right side, of course, we all know about Hendo, how he protects Arnold, and then how the long ball basically helps unleash Salah's pace, right? But on the left side, you would see very less of long balls. Okay, on the left side, you would see a lot of these intricate passes. Robbo coming in, playing into the guy who's playing either it's Keita or Thiago. He plays a 1-2, and then that guy releases Mane. You'll see a lot of that combination, especially on the left side of our game. Now that is what worries me the most. I don't think we've seen enough of Diaz to say that, okay, he will take over that role effectively and keep that glue, because also his Mane's link up with Bobby was something else. I'm pretty sure they had a very telepathic communication. Mane would just make a run and Bobby would know exactly which side he's running. The pace on the pass, the angle on the pass would just be inch perfect. The best part is that would have been like a 1-2. It's probably the attack started from Mane, goes to Firmino or goes to some other player, and it goes back to Mane. So replacing this pass and move style, that is what really is the thing that's really worrying me. Curious to see.
I think we'll evolve. Okay, but I feel the system's gonna evolve because Luis Diaz is a very different player to Mane. Okay, and we haven't scratched the surface of Diaz, right? If you see a lot of Mane goals that don't get spoken about, which is very difficult for other players to score, is when he comes in on the left and cuts in and puts the curler in, right? He scored too many of those, right? If you go and watch his goal highlights, you'll at least find 10 goals which are like that, right? Traditional winger goals. You come in, you're an inverted winger, you come in, you cut in, lose your man, and then curl the ball into the top corner. You won't believe how much of Luis Diaz's goals were like that in Porto, right? Lot of them. So I think the system's going to now evolve to what it was when Coutinho used to play there. Very early on, right? Mane was actually playing on the right wing when he started off. Coutinho was left and Bobby was in the center, right? So that's the system that we'll start evolving with. But the advantage that I used to see in that system is Robbo is actually a very good crosser. Robbo is also very good at getting into the box and picking his right man out, right? That sort of evolved and sort of became lesser and lesser because of what you're saying. Because Mane was so good at holding the ball up, playing that tiki-taka around the box, and then probably unleashing Salah, unleashing Bobby, right? I think that's going to get replaced by more traditional type of football where you'll find Robbo, Luis Diaz picking up the ball at halfway, driving, Robbo overlapping, Diaz passing that to Robbo, and then Robbo cutting it back for Nunez or Salah, or even somebody coming in from midfield, right? That's so sort of when I'm thinking about it, that's what I'm thinking. And I do believe that Diaz, I'll be very honest, right? No Diaz, no 4 cup finals that we had last season. It's as simple as that for me, right? So I feel that the system is already evolving with Mane going into the center. If you look at the second half of last season, once Diaz has come in, and to be very honest, Diaz has not started scoring the kind of goals he scores from outside the box, right? So I'm not really worried about the left-hand side. I'm more worried about how Nunez is going to sort of fit into this whole piece, right? He's more of a traditional center forward. He's got great work rate, but a lot of his work has come on the right-hand side. If you watch the way Benfica play, or if you just watch YouTube highlights also, you'll be able to see that a lot of his work comes in from the wings, actually. He's not a Torres. There are a lot of comparisons because of the goals, but I think we'll move to Nunez next, right? But to just close off Mane for me, right? I'm not worried about how to replace what he used to do on the wing. I'm more worried about how will we replace the center of the puzzle, right? Because it's evolved a lot. Bobby has gone away. Bobby, so it was like our system was a 4-3-1-2 for the longest time.
True.
Then it became a 4-3-3 proper with Mane, Salah, and Diaz, right? And sort of sometimes when you have defenses that sit very deep, right? Having so much pace at the front doesn't really help you. So that's what we saw against Madrid, right? So maybe having another player who can do a little more than just bombing forward, right? And scoring because of the pace of the attack, it might help us. So I'm actually excited about Nunez. Very young, we don't know. But to close off the Mane argument, I believe we're in a good place to replace him. His output, at least, right, in terms of goals, etc. The subtleties of, like, see, when Mane signed, right, I was happy because of one reason. I said we've signed an asshole in the forward line. We didn't have assholes, right? And I feel Liverpool missed out on that. In our heydays, right, we used to have Kaut and Riera, the nicest guys, right? If you foul Kaut, he'll get up and he'll walk. He's not going to hold his leg in. So there's no chance the fullback is going to get sent off. With Mane, you have that kind of pace to really dread, right? And defenders make mistakes. So that assholeness will have to get replaced, because Bobby is nice, Salah is also nice, Mane is not nice. Mane has that streak in him. He's kicked the City keeper in the chest, right? And he's saying, boss, I'm going for the ball. Fuck you. I need to get the ball. So
I agree with everything, but I just don't want you to use the word asshole.
That was not chest, face.
Oh yeah, that was also the face.
I don't think we'd be worried, like what Vardy said, no, about the whole telepathic thing that he had with Andy, or let's say Bobby. I'm not worried about that, because that comes from incessant drilling. Okay. What I am worried about is the temperament of Mane. Can that be replaced? See, Mane of the front three had the highest number of steals.
Okay.
I'm not talking about interceptions. Yes, I'm not talking about interceptions. Okay, the interception is different from a steal. Mane had the highest number of steals. वो इतना back करता था और वो छीन के लेके आना. When someone has the ball and you're stealing it from him, that kind of temperament. Bhai, which forward does that? Which team? Tell me. You go back. People don't drop back like that. Okay, especially when they're playing center forward, they don't come back. They don't do that. See, the temperament is what I'm worried about. The telepathic connection. We are a very well drilled team, bro. We are very well drilled. Okay, so that will eventually happen. Okay, towards the end of it, I was seeing like when Diaz and I could see a sense of where Diaz and Salah are connecting in the game. You start seeing, no? After 4 games, after 5 games, you get to see that, okay, they are getting to know how each other run. They're getting to know. Abhi, they'll get there. I don't know. They'll get there. Okay. Even Andy's connection with Diaz, it's happening. That will happen. Okay. I'm worried about, do these new boys, do they have even Carvallho? for that instance, we're getting a new guy, we new number 10. Okay, do these guys have that temperament? Because now the game is changing, bro. The game, our attacking game is gonna change. Okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna be very narrow. We have to defeat big teams means we have to attack narrow. I've been telling this from last year, but that was our biggest weakness. That's why we couldn't defeat these teams. Yeah, so it's just that we don't know how they are personally. Like we don't know how they are off the pitch. So that is a little bothersome for me. But uh, otherwise, I'm not really scared, man.
Yeah, fair enough. So what I meant by I'm worried that that connection would be lost is not that we would not get it. Absolutely, I think you said it right. Drilling is what really is the reason why Klopp's team is this good. Okay, our team is this good. What I meant is it's gonna take some time. Okay, the time that is gonna take to evolve to a level where all the front three understand each other. It's gonna take a couple of games. It might not be even 5 games into the season. It may probably be a little more. Okay, that is what is worrying me because we are playing in a league where this Man City team is just winning every single game, and you cannot be, you cannot say that okay, we will catch up later because, well, we did that last year and see where we are. Like we had a monstrous second half of the season, still we were 1 point short. So that's my worry. Okay, I don't want us to lose out on anything in the first half of the season, especially if it is relating to gameplay. I mean that's where my worry basically stemmed from. But yeah, I agree with most of what you guys said. Makes sense. But yeah, this is one thing which I want to talk about before we we move on to talking about Nunez and our next phase of Klopp's front line, because clearly looks like an evolution, right? We had a traditional front three, Mane, Salah, Firmino, but I think my gut feeling is Salah leaves next season on a free. I think the same thing, right? Kill one, marry one, and dump one. So I think that's what's going to happen to these three. I think we're going to sell Mane, keep Bobby. We'll probably give Bobby an extension, get him to run down the second contract. But Salah, we would just let him go when his existing contract ends, right? My question is, what about the right wing? With Mane, you had a player who could play across the positions, right? Right wing, left wing, center forward, even a number 10, right? You could even expect defensive output from him. But Mane, that's the thing which worries me the most. We don't have someone who can fill in for Salah. God forbid he gets injured for even a couple of games. We will have something to worry about. Yeah, but anyways, I think I'm pretty sure Klopp has plans for that. Let's see where it goes. And
see, from a system standpoint, I don't think we are not yet to replace Mane, right? We have a right-footed left winger in Luis Diaz. We've seen this. I think we've scratched the surface, right? And this guy is as versatile as Mane would have been, apart from the center forward masterstroke that he pulled off, right? I didn't expect Mane to play so well in the center forward, but I feel left wing, I'm still okay. Right wing, I'm always worried, right? Because we've never had a left. So basically, I was thinking that we will not struggle to replace the output of Mane, right? Apart from the fact that when he transitioned to the center forward role, that sort of took me by surprise as well, because it's a very different role in the Liverpool system, right? But I think with Diaz, we'll replace that output, right? And we have a guy who's almost as versatile on the wing as and unpredictable as Mane, right? And I think we've just seen the very tip of the iceberg last season, and that itself was a massive impact, right? But I agree. I think where we'll have to focus more on and see how it evolves is how the system is going to evolve now, right? With Nunez coming through the middle, Salah most probably is going to stay. I will not comment on whether he's going to go on a free, because if I think about FSG as a business, that's the worst deal possible, right? If we put Salah on the market today, PSG pays us 80 million, right? We get a Nunez money back, right? So I don't know how that's going to go. But these three, how do the partnership evolve? I'm also very concerned about midfield. that's a different topic for a different conversation. About there's a person who's being called the League One flop of the year. I would take him back in a heartbeat, right? Because there are some intangibles midfielders running ball on which we have really missed last season, right? Thiago is great in making those passes, those cutting edge stuff, but what I felt Robbo and Mane had to do a lot more of last season at the start was to also do a lot of the, because there wasn't a ball carrier, there wasn't a guy who's going to do all the dirty work for you, and Gini used to do that a lot on that wing, right? Hendo usually wing with Salah and Trent. Gini used to do a lot of the ball work, off the ball running, off the ball tracking. I think we're missing that. I don't think we have signed anybody who can do that. I don't think Ox is any more capable of doing that. So that's a different conversation, as I said. And we have to see how that system is going to evolve. Because currently our midfield is very static, right? Fab as the anchor. And if you observe in our last season, the time when we played really well is when Fab has stopped being that anchor. Fab is quite mobile, actually. And he can dink balls. He can sometimes score. He's also very, very fluid that way, right? So when Hendo is on his game and carry the ball, or when Fab is doing the going front thing, that's when our midfielders look stable. If not, it's just a three bank, right? You have Hendo and Thiago just, and then you have Fab sitting deeper, and I don't think that helps our attackers, right? We saw it in Madrid as well. And when somebody's just, the biggest challenge I see for us is when a team parks the bus and the midfield moves back, like Madrid did to us, game is being played in half the pitch, okay? Because they are sitting very deep. Our line is very high, so we are pushed up. So you've sort of crammed the football in a very small space. And what you need there is not somebody who will play that killer ball, because there's so many bodies, right? You need somebody like a Genie who's going to carry the ball to an extent that he's going to pull people out, and then that pass comes in, which somebody shoots, right? So I feel that to evolve for us. But I think Mane as a single entity, the replacement, I'm sort of very comfortable at this point of time with Diaz and even Nunez coming in, right?
Fair enough. And I think this is a good segue to Nunez. Let's talk about Nunez and what he brings to our attack, because he clearly is not a Mane replacement. He's a Divock replacement. I see Nunez as someone who comes off the bench, at least in the first 5-10 games. I would be really shocked if I see Nunez starting, because, I mean, we're not a team that plays the traditional number 9. Nunez is more of a traditional number 9. From whatever I've seen of Nunez, right? I mean, of course, I've seen the good videos. Also, I've seen a couple of videos which just, calls out his weaknesses, right? Which with a compilation of how bad he's been. So I was a little worried, skeptical for quite a while regarding how he's going to play and how he's going to fit in. Because if there's one thing that's very consistent among all of Klopp's players, right, it's that they are very good players, very comfortable with the ball at their feet. Be it Mane, Firmino, Salah, midfield, Thiago, Hendo, even Hendo for that fact. Okay, he's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he can move around. These players do not get dispossessed that easily. They don't make that many mistakes. Okay, but from a couple of videos which I saw, Nunez tends to make a lot of mistakes, overruns the ball a little too much, overhits it. So I'm pretty sure he's going to have a little slow start to the season. Okay, I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, that's where I see this going. Okay, I at least see Jota starting in centre forward for a couple of weeks, or at least for the first few games. But yeah, I see Nunez as a proper replacement, maybe a slight upgrade over Divock. Okay, but can he produce the same results which Divock does? I'm not too sure. Yeah, thoughts, guys. What do you all think? What's the first impression of Nunez? You can talk about the comparison to Torres. You can compare him to any other attacker. But yeah, what realistically do you think is going to happen this time with Nunez coming in?
I mean, I'm like totally blank with that. Okay, I'm totally blank of what kind of a player he is. He seems like a traditional number 9. He seems like a, sort of a. He's not too flashy, but I'm like super blank. But I also feel we are not going for an 80-minute player. Okay, we are not going for a 90-minute player. Okay, because I feel that we are going for 60 games a season. Okay, and the entire system is revolving around how to utilize that, how to make that work. How are we going to make it in such a way that we can play 60 games with? So I feel that's what it is. I don't see a hierarchy in forwards. If I make sense, it's gonna always be like the way we worked the second half of the season last year. Okay, it's gonna be that. There's no hierarchy of, hey, you 3 are proper starters, you 4 are proper this thing. It's gonna be about how can we approach. Okay, guys, the drill is 60-62 games. Okay, how are we gonna approach this in the best possible way? I feel that's what they're going for. Okay, so I'm not sure what kind this guy is. At least I've seen now Diaz. I can tell what Diaz is. I can tell Diaz is direct runner. He does this. He's a puzzle. He can't be solved easily. I can tell that. I don't know Nunez what I can tell.
So Maja, my first impressions from watching him in Benfica, right? Three things stood out for me, right? He's a finisher, right? Look at the number of offside goals that he's actually scored, right? The dinks, the movement, the pace, it's all geared towards finishing goals, right? He's big enough to be a traditional centre forward who'll hold up play, but he's not going to be that, right? Because one, we don't play that system, and two, more importantly, he has space to burn, right? I think the Torres comparisons are a little too wishful thinking because he doesn't have that searing pace from what I've seen. For me, he's going to be, and also the system in Benfica, which I was talking about earlier, right, is a very two-headed, two-striker system, even though they don't play it that way traditionally, right? I think it's Rafa Silva or somebody who plays behind him is almost like a tandem, right? And Nunez is not the target man. It's the other way around. Nunez is the guy who's going to come in and finish the goal, right? So it's not like Nunez is holding up the ball and setting it up for the other guy. It's not that system, right? Nunez is going to pull your center backs towards the bylines, and then people are going to have to come in the middle and start finishing off those goals. That's my assessment of what striker he is, right? The only challenge I see with that is we don't have people, except say to an extent Ox and very little Keita, Ox as in the prime Ox, right? Who would come onto the ball and then slam it in from the box, from the edge of the box or something like that, right? So that's going to be the challenge to see how Nunez is going to evolve, right? I would not be surprised, and I'm saying this again, I would be surprised if we go to a 4-2-3-1 because we don't have the pace in midfield to play a 4-2-3-1. But I would not be surprised if we actually go to a 4-4-2, right? 4-4-2 with Luis Diaz on one wing, say Salah on the other, and Jota and Nunez playing in tandem, right? Or Bobby and Nunez playing in tandem. You can still look at it as a 4-2-3-1 as well. But I feel the amount of work rate which the wide forwards will have to show will be much, much higher, right? Because there is no third person in midfield to cover. So I wouldn't be surprised if we move to a 4-4-2 because I agree with you, Wadi. Nobody knows what is Jota's best position. Everybody believes he can do everything, but he is a right-footed player, right? He's not as ambidextrous. He can score the odd goal with his left foot, but it's not like he can play a Salah role, right? He's never going to replace Salah on that wing. He's struggled a bit to replace Mane on the right wing because he doesn't have the same pace, right? So his ideal role in the system is to actually play center forward, and you've just gone and bought a 70 million and 80 million center forward, right? So I believe that 4-4-2 evolution is very possible, but it's going to have a lot of challenges, right? Might not be the formation I said, because then there is no cover, right? You might find that probably the right winger might be a little more conservative, like an Harvey Elliott, right? Who's not actually going to be like Salah, but we might evolve. See, you got to understand the other things that have happened. Yeah. So the other thing that I really want to focus on is the players that we've got also, right? It's not just Nunez. We've bought this Fabio, Carvallho. We have Harvey Elliott, right? How are these guys going to fit into the system, right? That's something that's not being talked about, but I think that's very critical because that's the reason we're not looking to find a progressive midfielder, right? Even if you look at the guy who went to Madrid, whose name is very difficult to pronounce, whatever, right? That guy was actually a defensive midfielder, right? And yeah, I don't care, right? Why will I learn the names of people who don't
need to know anymore? Like, fuck him.
Yeah. So the point is, you were looking still at a very box to box, deep lying sort of midfielder. Even if you look at Bellingham, it's a guy who can do box to box, right? So we're really not looking for sort of a playmaker or we're looking at a ball carrier, right? And I feel Harvey, Fabio Carvallho, all these people are also ball carriers. So the system might also evolve where it's still Salah, Mane, Diaz as your preferred front. Sorry, Salah, Nunez, Diaz. And then you have one fluid midfielder, which is your Harvey Elliott or your this guy who's more attacking focused and ball carrying focused. And you'll still have your Hendo, Thiago, Fabio, who are more defensive focused, right? So I feel that's how the system might evolve. But again, guys, one thing I've learned is trust Klopp. Don't break your head about how things are going to work. This is not a team who goes and buys players just for the heck of it, right? All this stupid Haaland versus Nunez things are just media, right? We did not buy Nunez because City bought Haaland. That's not the way we operate, right? We bought him for a reason. We still have to explore what that reason is.
So, very valid points made, okay, Avi. But I want to put across these few things that have been bothering me ever since we got this Nunez deal done. Okay. So yeah, of course we do trust in Klopp. Of course, we do trust in our transfer committee. By now, as a Liverpool fan, we've learned to do that. But doesn't stop me from thinking, have we overspent on players or players in a certain position where we don't really need attackers, where we don't need enforcement? I feel we've overloaded on certain areas of our attack, the left wing and the center forward. We've seen Jota come in. We've seen Fabio Carvallho come in. We've seen Luis Diaz come in. Yeah, Mane is going. There is one outgoing in Sadio Mane, but then we've got these three players. Okay. So Divock is leaving, and then Nunez is more like a Divock replacement. Makes sense. But still, I think we got too many players of the same profile. I think Jota and Nunez for me are a very similar. They have a very similar player profile. Okay, they prefer to cut in from the left wing, and they prefer to play centrally. Okay, but if we look at the right wing, again stems from the thought that if we miss Salah for a couple of games in a season, what's going to happen to us? Where is that creativity? Where is that spark from the right wing going to come? Who's going to do that? Because I can't see Harvey Elliott do that. I can't see Fabio Carvallho do that. I can't see Jota do that. I don't know. Firmino is the last person you want to play on the right wing. So,
but at 2-3 games, your question is answered. No, the 2-3 games fear that you have. How did we play when people are not available for AFCON because of AFCON?
We had
Jota played there.
Jota didn't play every game. I think Minamino played a lot of games. Ox filled in at right wing. So it was not a very convincing strategy that Klopp deployed. If you noticed those 3-4 games, right, we were very lucky this time because they were just 2 league games when Salah was missing. Okay, of course Mane was missing, but Salah was also missing. It was just 2 league games. The other games would anyways, filled in by youngsters or was filled in by second string players, and I'm pretty sure we don't remember the result. I'm pretty sure it was an FA Cup game or a League Cup game, and I don't remember who played. I remember watching it, but yeah, it didn't matter, right? It's very insignificant. What is really important is, in the long run, when you are in an event where you can't have a particular player play for 5 to 10 games at a stretch, you need a strategy which is going to work every game. You need a long-term strategy. Okay, you can't have a plug-and-play solution. It may work for one game, but it won't work for game after game, right? Opponents will read you and they will exploit your weakness. That's where the pessimist in me comes out. Okay. I'm kind of still worried that we have done a lot of business, but maybe we have not done the right kind of business. Okay. I still feel the Nunez deal was probably a little unnecessary. I still feel the Fabio Carvallho deal was a little unnecessary. I would have rather had an attacker, a youngster who probably prefers the right wing. Okay. Because clearly we were all happy with Elliott. Okay. But it's turned out that he is not a traditional winger. Okay. His future lies in midfield. And at the right wing, we don't have a player who can, replicate the same thing which Salah does.
Agreed. Agreed, man. So that's a fear which is very valid. We've not had that, but Vadi, you have to remember we've not had that for 3 seasons. Okay.
Remember, there was one thing I told you. I think like a month back or something. There's always a first time for everything. Okay. And I'm sure it's inevitable. Okay. When not, Salah is a human at the end of the day. He's not a robo, and it's gonna happen eventually. And we are not prepared for the eventuality. That's my problem. I mean, for a team that's
Vadi, I feel
right.
The answer has to be systematic, right? The answer can't be player dependent, because see, there are flip sides to what you're saying, right? The fact that a good left, an inverted right winger will not join Liverpool is he's going to play 10 games a season. He's going to start 10 games a season because Salah is there, right? You're saying, so the backup planning. So for example, I don't believe the Rafinha links at all unless Salah leaves, right? Why would a player who's starting for Leeds and who's being chased by 10 clubs come and join Liverpool and be a second fiddle to Salah, right? So, and I don't believe that Fabio Carvallho has been brought for the right wing. I believe he's been brought for attacking midfield, which is
10.
which is a lot, which is where all these conversations about your 4-2-3-1 are really heating up, right? Thinking about, okay, we have Jota and Nunez, we have Bobby. All these 3 people are good to play in that center forward / second striker role, right? And then you have Salah on one side, you have Diaz on the other, you have Carvallho who's come in, you have Elliott, a lot of players to back them up, right? But I feel that's your front 6. But the only reason I don't buy it is because we don't have the 2-man midfield anchor who can make that system successful. You don't have the Jabi Mascherano combination. You don't have the Kante and another DM combination, right? Where one is a person who's going to sit, the other is the person who's going to play box to box, right? And cover ground sideways as well. So I don't believe we have those players. But if you look at a lot of our transfer dealings, it's not apples to apples. So people are saying, who are thinking that the evolution of the system is to make the 4-3-3 better. We haven't bought players that way, right? We're buying a center forward. You're right. Jota can play along the line, but he's probably most effective through the middle, right? Why have we bought Carvallho? But also what you got to think about with Carvallho kind of deals is we're very good at buying youngsters on the cheap and selling them for more money. Okay. We do that all the time. Yeah. Right. So that's also one angle here, right? You'll get him for 8 million from Fulham. Whereas if he comes from Fulham to the Premier League, he becomes a 20 million player, right? So I don't believe the signings are apples to apples. And I'll tell you why, right? I believe if you really wanted to buy a very good Mane replacement, I believe we should have gone and bought Nkunku. Christopher Nkunku is the Mane of now, not the Mane of the past, right? And we're trying to replace the Mane of the now, right? An attacking midfield player who has a lot of goals and assists in him. That's what we're trying to replace now, right? Because Luis Diaz has already come on the wing. So why did we go for a traditional center forward? That's an important question to answer on what system is going to come in, right? I don't see us playing the traditional 4-3-3 that we've been playing for a long time. I do believe there are going to be tweaks to it. And I do believe there's a strong case for a 2-striker system now, right? You have Bobby, you have Jota, you have Nunez, and what I've seen of Nunez, he does go to the left, but he drifts more to the right, right? That's how Benfica generally deploy him. He's more right side focused, which is why if you think about it, no, actually it's counterintuitive.
He's actually left
because Kunat.
From what I've seen, most of his goals have come from the left wing. He always starts off from the left. So that's
you're right, because even the Kunate goal, he was on the left side. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
देख formation जो होगा वो होगा. Okay. We can't really predict it. It's very difficult to predict Klopp's formation, where he's going with it. Okay. But I feel what he's done for the, let's say, a formation like 4-2-1-3. Okay, 4-2-1-3. वो जो one है, he has put a lot of, now there is a competition for that one spot.
Correct.
Okay. In that 4-2-1-3 mein, in that one, the guy who links your midfield with the forward, okay, उसपे अभी बेजोड़ competition. Now it is Harvey Elliott, Carvallho, Firmino, Curtis Jones. Okay, fuck knows what Ox is gonna do. I don't know, but I'm not sure if Ox is gonna be considered for that role. But these are the 4 ones. Okay, 4 में से young. 3 are bloody 20, not even 22. Okay, so it is. I honestly feel whatever the formation is, I feel that the strengthening is like you said, like Kavi said. No, we have a creative guy in the midfield. We have a workhorse in the midfield. Now, what about that one guy who is X factor? Who is where is this guy gonna run? Where is this guy gonna make? So that is the guy. Okay, now I think now we'll have 3 or 4 people eyeing for that, so that our narrow this thing, it gets very, very strengthened. Okay, but again, formation wise, it could be 4-4-2 also, because he's actually making a lot of sense. He's telling that there are cases for that to happen. So that could also. So formation, I'm not worried. I'm getting convinced that we are going out there and buying the right kind of people.
You're convinced.
And I don't consider Nunez. Yes, I don't think Nunez is costly, because when I'm looking at Nunez, I'm looking at wages. And I feel like we are being pretty shrewd in the way we are conducting the business.
Shrewd, all right. I think, but still, I think it's just one half of the business. Okay, I think when we look at wages and how cheap they are in the long run, in the short term, I think for the first 2-3 years when he's on his initial contract, I think we'll save like a lot of millions. But in this case, where we're upfront, but he's certainly going to get a contract after 2 years, right? He's going to get a renewal. So his wages, if he's at 115K a week right now, it's going to be the case for the next 2 years only, or maybe 3 at best. Okay. And he's going to get a renewal after that. And that time his wages is going to shoot up to 180 or 200. If he's turned out to be a superstar like Salah, it's going to go to 200 in just 1 year or 2 years. So you never know. So that whole question of him being, a cheap addition, what you said, I think that's just offset. I don't think that will come into play if he turns out to be a superstar. It probably turns out to be a flop.
No, but think about it, right? We've not signed him on a 5-year contract. He's 22. We've signed him on a 6-year contract. The club has a lot of leverage now to not entertain those conversations for 3 years, even if he's a superstar. It's a 6-year contract, right? That if you think about it, like typically even Alisson got 5 years, but now they've given 6 years to this guy. So I think it's very shrewd. Okay, a lot of these subtle things which the club is doing is long-term very good, because Haaland is cheaper than Nunez in terms of transfer fee. Okay.
Exactly.
But then the wages and the agent fees.
वो गाड़ से लेगा वो wages तुम्हारी. Like you will bleed out of your ass to pay him 500K per week. It is.
Is he on I don't know.
It's massive, man. The total deal, what I've read, including, so I think they've paid about 40-50 million for him to Dortmund. I think 50 plus.
That I know.
His agent fees is around, his agent fees is around 20-25 million. Okay. And then his wages is starting at 400K after tax. Okay. In England. So it's massive. Okay. It's only possible with the Manchester clubs. I don't even think now Chelsea can afford such wages after the takeover, right? There's no longer the free oil money. So the point is this, right? That even I think holistically, it seems like a good signing. And Wadi, I absolutely agree with you. If you try to fit Nunez into our current system, you will struggle. And that's when questions come up, because our system works, right? It's been working for 4 years. I don't dispute that at all, but I feel that's why an evolution is required now, right? You can't, and to be very honest with you, the teams who have started parking the bus again, they started doing it very differently than what they used to do, right?
And
People are not more effectively. People are not thinking, let's just park the bus and get a 0-0 draw. No, people are thinking, let's park the bus and get a 1-0 win, right? And we have an aging defense. We have an aging midfield, and we have a slightly more riskier defense because of the high line we play, right? So a lot of these factors are going to contribute to the evolution of the system. Like I keep saying, it was very good to push your last line up and create offsides for the opposition and reduce their goal threat. But what we're also realizing now is the pitch itself is shrunk, right? If the opposition is also playing ahead, then you have the running in space behind, right? But now the opposition is moved back. So your whole game is basically in half the pitch. How do you evolve? You can't keep doing that with fast wide forwards, right? Because people are not going and saying, hey, Liverpool, let's go and beat them at their own game. Look at Atletico Madrid, look at Inter Milan, look at Real Madrid, right? People talk a lot, but they were playing Valverde on one wing. He's a center midfielder. The whole aim was, as soon as you lose the ball, come back and let Vinicius and Benzema do what they're doing, right? So I think the system to play against us has evolved very well to a very counter-attacking, a very defensive block kind of system. So we also have to evolve with that, right? How are we going to break that mold? Probably it's going to be crosses, right? One of the things that we didn't do a lot last season was score a lot of goals from headers, right? And we scored a lot of crafty goals from headers, but not the traditional Alexander-Arnold thumping the ball forward from center halfway line, right? Those super crazy crosses which used to come in, I felt reduced a lot. Maybe Nunez is going to also reap the benefits of that, right? And I like Trent's how may I assist you cheeky jibe, right? So it's all nice. It's nice. So Nunez is going to be, for me, a black box until we see him on the pitch, right? In our system. Diaz was not for me, right? Like first when I saw Diaz videos, I was like, why are we thinking about paying 40 million for this guy? And then when you start watching his movement and the ability of him to take on people and most importantly, shoot, right? Go watch Diaz's videos in Porto, right? He scores goals like Coutinho used to score goals. Very, very similar. Cut in, bang, bang from far away. He's not been able to do that in the Premier League, but we got to see how that happens.
I saw that goal against Man City that he scored in the Champions League this season.
Yeah.
What a goal, man. Last season, right? I think
crazy.
He schooled Kyle Walker and I think another
Three
player.
people. Rodri also got left behind. He kept going, and then he shot, right? So I feel it's still exciting times. How that excitement is going to translate into reality, we have to wait and watch, right? Because the other thing that we don't realize, right? Klopp is very good at molding people, okay? So we shouldn't take at face value what Darwin Nunez is today, right? When Mane came in, he was very rash, right? And he was very impulsive. We've seen in 6 years that he's moved into a very mature role. He knows when to pass, when to take on people, when to use his space. A lot of evolution has happened. So I'm hoping that will also happen with Nunez. I agree we've overpaid, but it's a market where like the two players whom I wanted Liverpool to sign were Dani Olmo and Christopher Nkunku. At least one of them, right? Because RB Leipzig, very similar system to ours, high press game, lot of similarities, right? But we've gone and done a similar thing in a different league. Benfica also very similar to us. If you saw the games, right? High press, try to win the ball, don't sit back, push up. All these are very Liverpool counter-attacking, gegenpressing fundamentals.
Right.
So my verdict on Nunez would be, yes, expensive, smart piece of business, considering that a lot of teams were after him, very young, good wages, good long-term, but how he's going to fit in, wait and watch.
Right. Makes sense. I think Okay, before we talk about Origi, right, and the good times that he's brought us, I just want to quickly talk about midfield. Okay, and Pramod, I want to hear this from you. Our midfield output, okay, over the years, it has of course been aging, but also over the years, the output I feel has been decreasing. Okay, in terms of key passes, in terms of assists. Okay, I think it was an exception that Hendo scored a couple of goals, but you just take away those one or two out of outside the box screamers that he scored against Atletico, one against I think Porto. Just take that away. Our output from midfield has been very less. Okay, I want you to tell me what's going to happen this time. Now that we are overloading with our team with forwards, and there does seem like evolution is what's going to eventually happen, right? It's an eventuality. Do you think we're going to go with the two-man midfield? And if we're going to go with the two-man midfield, which two midfielders would be your pick?
I want a two-man midfield. Okay, I want a two-man midfield of Thiago and Hendo, but I feel it'll be.
Sorry, Pramod. I wanted to think about
Sorry?
one thing. Okay, when you talk about a two-man midfield, you got to also factor in the amount of work the two midfielders should put in. Okay. In this case, two aging midfielders, all three midfielders are above 30, right? And the output, do they have the legs? Yeah, that is something which I'm interested in. Addressing that question.
See, obviously, if we are going with a two-man midfield, I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll be more like a only for a few games or something like that. But even if we do, let's say we go with a two-man midfield, it'll be three people gunning for the two-man midfield. Okay, it's not going to be always Thiago and Hendo. It's obviously going to be Fabzi, Thiago, and Hendo doing two from that. Okay,
No,
it's always going to be that.
But it has to be a system, right? You have to have one player who is a DM, one guy who basically is a progressive midfielder, one guy who is a defensive midfielder, right? If you look at Fabzi, he is pretty much a defensive midfielder, right? We can't expect Hendo to fill in that shoes over a period of time. So keeping a system in mind, it's easy to say that, yeah, players will rotate. Of course, yes, I agree. But yeah, how is the system going to look like? Are we going to go with a Mascherano, Jabi type of a midfield? Or is it going to be like a Gerrard and a Lucas and a Hendo type of a midfield? That's my question. That's probably the most interesting thing that I'm going to look at the upcoming season, because Hendo is getting older, Thiago is getting older, but yeah, maybe classier also at the same time. But yeah, Fabzi is his performances, I would say, it's in a gray area. Okay, it's not been overly convincing. It's there again, not been underwhelming either. So Fabzi is Fabzi.
Fabzi is Fabzi, and see, you got to see that Hendo played 60 games last season. Okay, and these were like full bloody games. Okay, it was not like half-assed games. It was fully 90 minutes for khela. Okay, so I can still give Hendo 2 more years of that. Okay, 2 more years, this season and next season of that. Okay, but this is a very tough question to answer. Okay, because you don't know. First of all, I don't think Klopp will go for a two-man midfield full time. There's changes here. I do agree. Actually, that's a very nice observation that our midfield has actually the output has, in that way, in the scheme of things, the output has reduced. Yes. Okay. I don't know how this is going to be addressed. I really don't know. I really don't have an answer to this.
Yeah.
And Madi, I don't think we have the legs, right? See, a two-man midfield is got to have a DM who's sort of a destroyer for it to really work, right? What I've seen, at least, a destroyer combined with a very box-to-box defense plus offense-minded player, right? The challenge I see is, Fab is very underrated, first of all, right? Fab is an 8-on-10 player, and people would give an arm and a leg to have an 8-on-10 player week in, week out. Fab is same as Robbo for me, right? He's 8 on 10 most of the time, right? He's not 11 on 10. He's not like Trent who can change a game by himself, right? But Fab is very important. So Fab has held down one of those slots for me by default, right? Now Hendo is aging. Prime Hendo is the perfect player for that, okay? Because he has the heart to come back and defend, and he has the ability to go forward. He can score some of the good goals, but unfortunately his Liverpool career has not been like that, right? He's played in the hole, he's played a lot of different roles. And now he doesn't, to be honest, fag end of last season, if you saw Hendo, after 80 minutes, he would be struggling to run, right? And it's just an age catching up, right? So for me, we will not move to a two-man midfield, right? That's my guess for the season. And if we do, we need to sign a Bellingham, right? To play next to Fab, right? With Hendo rotating for Fab, Thiago rotating for Bellingham. All these are possible combinations. But if you look at the way we've stocked our midfield now, right? If you look at the three midfield, right? Your starting three ideally should not even have Hendo and Thiago together, right? So you have Fabinho anchoring, you have Hendo or Thiago on one side, and you have, say, an Elliott, Curtis, and or Carvallho on the other side, right? One ball carrier has to be there, right? Hendo and Thiago are not the ball carriers. They are the guys who are going to make crosses, make cute balls. For me, Ox is sold, okay? See, what Klopp does very beautifully, which people don't observe, right, is he makes players realize that they're not part of his plans. Happened to Carriers, has happened to Ox. Ox has not been on the bench for most of the second half of the season, even when we had injuries, right? Keita was coming in. And of course, the other player which we keep forgetting is Keita on the other side, right? So it's going to be Fab backed up by Hendo, Thiago on one side, Keita on the other, backed up by youngsters, right? That's how our midfield has been formed. So unless we sign somebody, and then obviously signing will mean selling, right? You can't just keep expecting us to keep signing people. So say if Keita gets sold to PSG, doesn't look on the cards, then we go into the market, we have cash, we buy somebody else, right? But today it's the two-man thing is looking like a very distinct possibility for me.
Right. Makes sense. I think it's good. It's food for thought. It's pretty interesting to see how this is going to go. Very curious how Klopp is going to play this out. I think it's going to be a masterstroke. What eventually, if he does put it off, it's going to be a masterstroke, right? How he evolves, grandfathers this midfield. I think now it's about time we talk about the GOAT. We talk about Divock Origi, what he brings to our team. What he brought to our team all these years. And let's talk about the best moments. Let's talk about all the fun that. So yeah, Avi, go first. Favorite memory of Divock Origi. Of course, all the moments are probably favorite moments, but yeah, you have to pick.
I think the favorite would still be the Everton goal, because it
Which Everton goal? That's the thing. Which Everton goal? Because naak mein dam kar diya tha Everton ke isne.
The ball bouncing, the Pinkford screw up, the Van Dijk shot hitting the pole, and it's not a legendary goal because of the way Divock Origi scored it, right? It's a legendary goal because it won us the game in the 93rd minute against Everton, which is always welcome, right? The Champions League final is an obvious one, right? The Champions League final for me is more of an emotional goal, right? Because that's when we were all there in that screening. It's the largest screening we've done, and more importantly, I feel we believed at that point, we knew at that point that we were champions of Europe, right? That is when it set in, because Tottenham was not an easy game, but it was not a very difficult game as well. But it was like that same Liverpool thing, right? That they'll wait till 90th minute to then start giving away cheap chances and put us into a fix, right? Dominate the game and then screw up in the end. So when Origi scored, and by the way, that's a very good goal, okay? Left foot coming in, not at all easy. Drills it into the far corner, not at all easy. So Origi for me is a very, very talented striker. Just always in the wrong system, right? He's a more of a doing player than a thinking player. And I think for the Klopp system, you have to be a thinking player. You have to keep thinking what next. I'm seeing parallels with Jota as well. So when you put Jota in the center forward role, right, he doesn't need to think much. The movement comes naturally. He comes back, he links up play, he does all the right things, right? But when you put Jota on the wing, and I've seen that for Portugal as well, it's a very different Jota that you end up seeing, right? So Divock, I felt, suffered because of the system, because our systems are never built around a traditional center forward, right? So if you're thinking I'm going to be on the shoulder of the defender and run through, and somebody's going to give me a great ball, not going to happen, right? Half your time is going to get spent chasing defenders, right? To win the ball off them and make something from that. That's our system, right? And if you see Pep Linder's video, he says a lot of people think of gegenpressing as pressing the opposition to move them up the pitch. Our aim is one aim of the press: win the ball. The ball should come to us. We are not pushing the people for them to go play tiki-taka with their keeper, right? And if you see, Divock Origi does not have, he sort of, for me, lacked that ability to think that, okay, if I press like this and if somebody else presses like this is the outcome which can happen, right? And that's where he fell short, because if you think about him as a traditional center forward, he's amazing, right? He's got great pace. He's actually two-footed. He finishes well. He can head the ball. So package-wise, he's a very good player, right? Similar to Nunez. But injuries and the system, right? Not able to think is where I felt his limitation was, but a lot of memories, right? Like legendary memories, the criticality of the memories. Like we've missed a super sub, right? Like United used to have the Park Ji-sungs of the world, right? Who will come and change a game for you and always available. I think Divock was a player for us for a bit of time, and then injuries happened and things started.
I think pretty much for the entirety of his career, right? I think he was a super sub. Even this season, the goal against I think Wolves, the 1900 goal. He scored another winner. I think the backheel goal this season, I think that was the FA Cup. I think that was Leicester. I think he's a super sub even this season. But yeah, unfortunately, game time, that's where it stems down to. He wasn't getting enough of that, right? So makes sense. But yeah, let's talk about his career projections. What do you think his role is going to be at AC Milan?
He's a 20-goal player in Serie A.
Yeah,
he's a 20-goal player.
I would say 15 conservatively, but he's going to a good team. Okay, Milan are on the resurgence now. They have good players. It's not like some bottom feeder team anymore, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he scores 20 goals, right? 15 goals a season, Serie A, easy, okay?
Will he a starter
Just
there?
the moment will. Sorry?
Will he be a starter at AC Milan?
Of course.
Depends. Whom do they have right now? I don't know. And Andre Gomez. Who's the centre forward for Milan?
Yeah, the guy who scored a goal against us, I don't quite remember his name.
No, that guy was not the centre forward, right? He's the 10. The 10 and the winger. Rebic scored a goal against us. Rebic is left wing. Rebic is not centre forward. He's the inverted winger on the left. And then they have an attacking. The other goal was scored by the attacking midfielder, right? I don't remember who.
They have Rafa, Leo. They have Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They have Olivier Giroud.
Giroud, yeah. So not a bad place to be, because all these guys are aging a lot, right? Zlatan is not going to get too much game time. Probably might leave as well. Giroud, very good player, but Serie A, right? Origi's pace will look like Fernando Torres in his prime. Lukaku seemed fast, really fast in Inter Milan, right? But in Chelsea, system is different. Yeah, I agree. But Serie A really is good for players who have decent pace to do well, right? So I feel he'll start. If he starts, then it's 15-20 goals is easy. If he doesn't start, and if there is too much competition with Giroud, then maybe still a 10-goal striker, man. Easily a good 10-goal striker in Serie A, 10-12 goal, right? And for his wages, he's 27, I think. For all the legendariness,
27.
He's 27 still, right? So at least 4 more good years of career. So I feel
we had him forever, man. We've had him forever.
Yeah.
He joined
in at
Like,
21.
we've got the
And the legend was born only after his Wolfsburg spell. So we sent him to Wolfsburg and thought that he'll go and will increase his value. He was a dud there. He came back and then the GOAT was born, scoring all these critical goals.
I disagree there. Before that loan spell, he had 2 loan spells, right? Back-to-back years. Before that loan spell, he was a nailed-on starter for us. He scored important goals until that Everton injury. I think Funes Mori, not sure if it was him or if it was someone else. I think it was him. 2016 or 15, this was. I think Klopp's first season. Oh man, the Europa season. Yeah. Bobby was on the left wing that time. This guy was center. He scored like a lot of goals, and whatever little he played, right? He didn't start every game because he was still very young, very immature. But whenever he played, it felt like, okay, he's gonna be a future number 9. He was pretty much, I was really looking forward to that version of Divock Origi. And of course, injury happened, and then a different legend.
After that,
so I would say
after that Everton injury, that time, Origi was the number 1 attacker for Klopp. Okay, this is before Mane had come.
Right.
After that season, Mane had come. So after that Everton in Klopp's face was like, you bastard. Like, it was more like, oh, you fucking cunt. What the fuck have you done? It was more like that. Because he knew that his primary guy is gone. And yeah, man, he's got so many memories. I mean, my favorite one is the Everton goal, but not the one that Avi mentioned. It's the other goal where it was a 5-2 win. Amazing goal, yeah. Amazing goal.
Dejan Lovren assist, long ball.
Yeah. Long ball, he controls it, turns around, and then chips over the keeper. Oh my God, what a goal.
Absolutely. And there's talent, okay? That's what people miss out. Even that back heel goal, which he just by reflex scored it, right? If Zlatan had scored that goal, the media would have drummed it for days on end, okay? It's a very difficult technique. It's not even a technique, it's an instinct. Right? So those are, that's why he's a good player, right? Always felt he's a good player and shows up, right? And by what we've read from Klopp and all, never cribs. Like a talented player like him, not getting like 10 games a season for 6 years, not easy, right? But very, very good to have. Same thing about Mignolet and all these guys, right? They were starters, they became second fiddle, they became third fiddle. They're not people who will cause unrest. So good players, good squad players to have, right? We've not heard those stories that
they groom and then they
leave. It's very good. Yeah. So, and every league winning team has those players, okay? It's just that Manchester City are able to afford 100 million players like that who are on 300k wages, but not everybody is going to be able to do that. So you need those players. You need the Couts, the Park Ji-sungs, the Origis of the world when you really want to win a lot of trophies, right? So we need to replace, right? We can't replace with, we need to replace with some youngsters, I feel, right? Whereas the next breed has to come in. It's not Nunez. Nunez is too much high priority to keep him on the bench for long. But we need to I still feel we need to get one attacker, right? One young attacker. Maybe that's Fabio Carvallho. I don't know. But yeah, that's how
I want to see more of him before we say anything else.
Correct.
Pramod, so his career projections, you've shared his favorite moment of Divock Origi. But yeah, where do you think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to bite us back in the ass? Champions League, group stages, knockouts?
No. I don't think it's going to be one of those things. I think he's going to be pretty successful in AC Milan. And he's going to, slowly, like, film ke end mein dikhate hain na, like in these Western movies, in the end, you ride on the horse towards the sunset. It's going to be that kind of end for him. And see, he's not a very creative kind of a player. Okay, he has got what traditionally a centre forward needs to have. You tap it well, you will see the results. Okay, it's not like he's promised creativity. He's gonna make those runs crazy. He cuts there. Oh my God, I didn't know he's gonna do that. He's not that kind of a player. See, I have a lot of things in my arsenal. Okay, you use me well, I will give you the results. He's that kind of a player. So that's why I said, especially in a team like AC Milan, who are doing well, they're coming up well. Easily, man. 20 goal per season. Easily.
Okay, that's pretty brave, predicting 20 goals, 15 goals also. Let's see. I think there are just good memories that we have for him, and just good wishes that we send, to wherever he goes. I hope he becomes a goat, man, at AC Milan. I really hope that his career takes off and he gets recognized for his talent. Because I think if there was one player who just did not get all that fame from not Liverpool fans, from the wider footballing
World
community,
over.
right? I think it's Origi. I think he was. I wouldn't say fall guy, but there was a if there was a lack of visibility into someone's strengths, I think it was Divock. Guy changed. He just changed too many games for us.
Fair point.
I think
But
I know
also-
the Federico Maquedas of United. Oh my God, what a guy! He just killed off our 8, 9, 20, 2008, 2009 title season. Uh, Park Ji-sung also a couple of years prior to that. Yeah, I think and seeing Divock Origi go is just it's as painful as Mane, because I don't know. You get Nunez on for the last 10 minutes of the game. Next time, dude, I don't know if the result is going to be a goal and a winner, last minute winner. I just
See,
don't
that's.
expect.
I think you're holding on too much. I think you can't. That's very unfair to do that, because these things you can't expect to get too much out of someone's nicety. Okay, like yes, guys like Origi and Mignoles, they have been nice. They have never caused unrest. Okay, but even they can also only hold it for some time. Okay, they're not going to do it forever. They're not going to do that. You can't take advantages, people's niceties like that. So it's good that they are finding a starting career somewhere, and it's nice. And we will make a super sub out of someone else now. That's all. Maybe, hopefully not Nunez. I'm not hoping to make we're not hoping to make him super sub or something, but someone else.
And honestly, Macha, Mane and Origi, goats for Liverpool, that's where it ends, okay? There is no other comparison. There is a gulf. There is a gulf of gap in every single attribute, right? Going back to Mane, right? One of the goals I've seen him score, I felt, having had ACL, gone close to screwing up my ACL so many times and still having problems with my ACL, he lands on one foot, rotates on that foot, and then scores with the other foot, okay? Mane's agility is one more thing. I cannot believe humanly how he does that, right? So it's just a scary combination of genes, will, and all those things, I feel. And Mane will be missed, man. There's no doubt about it, right? And what the one conclusion to this conversation for me would be, what happens in the future depends a lot on how Diaz and Nunez evolve, right, in our system and at Liverpool. We've had the luxury for the past 5 years to think, oh, Thiago Alcantara, great signing. Good signing does not change our worldview, right? We had a great squad. We were just making it better, right? Jota coming in, oh, great. One more guy comes in, right? Because your anchor, your base was solid, okay? Now the base is evolving, especially on the top. And in 3 years' time, the base will evolve in midfield and defense as well. So we all have to brace ourselves for that re-evolution. It's not a rebuild, but it's an evolution, right? And it's going to change a lot of things, right? People keep talking about Curtis Jones. Great player, right? But not seen progression in the last 2 years because of whatever reasons. Harvey Elliott, horrible injury, again, question marks. Ox is gone for me. Keita will stay as a squad player at best, right? Or I don't know if he can prove all of us wrong, but there is an evolution now. That's what we have to accept as a ground reality, right? It's not like we go into next season being title contenders again. I was happy to say that last year, that we are going to be in the top 2, right? Now it all depends on how all these guys do.
Right. Yeah, I think the key takeaway, takeaway from today is evolution. I think we gotta put it there and maybe think about how it's gonna evolve, reflect on this, and maybe come back on another episode and revisit this and actually ponder how did we evolve. So I think
I think this has been the most technical episode of ours.
yeah,
There's so much technicalities that we have spoken. There's so much formations. ये कैसे होगा वो 1, 2, 3, 4. There's so many technicalities that we have dived into, and so that's why we took it a little longer.
but yeah, I think like all good things come to an end. This episode 2 comes to an end. Hopefully we can revisit this episode, sometime later, end of the season, look back at how we evolved. Until then, I think, thank you guys. Thanks for being here. I think it was good. Let's catch up soon. And for viewers who are still watching this, thank you for watching. Do subscribe to our channel and do expect more episodes, better episodes from us. All right, guys.
Awesome. Thanks for having, guys.
Thank you, Avinash.
Cheers,
Thank you,
cheers.
Pramod.
Cheers, boys.